Brady Edmunds is already leading like a Buckeye, embracing the culture and helping build the future.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Hump Day edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we will discuss a big-time visitor coming to Ohio State for the season opener against Texas, as well as some news and notes from the Buckeyes recruiting camps. But first, every single year, Ohio State's going after the best of the best in the country. In the trenches, at quarterback, at linebacker, it doesn't matter. Ohio State wants the best. Even when it comes to long snappers, kickers, and punters, they want to make sure the guys they're bringing in are elite. That they're not only elite on the field, but that they're also elite off the field. And that's one of the trickiest things for a coach while recruiting, is to try to figure out if a guy is elite on the field and off the field. Because as people mature, some guys get better and they have better activity off the field. Some people's activity off the field is a little bit questionable. Well, one guy whose activity off the field is not questionable is four-star quarterback Brady Edmunds. He's a top 70 recruit, the number 6 quarterback in the class of 2027. He is a Buckeye commit, and this young man came to Columbus, Ohio, spent 3 days at Buckeye camps, but also took a trip to visit young kids at the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus to donate a bunch of toys and books for the youngsters. And I'm thinking, if I just finished my sophomore year of high school and I'm going into my junior year, I've already committed to Ohio State. I'm there working with Ryan Day and the other coaches, camping it up in Columbus. The last thing I might want to do if I was his age was to go to a hospital to donate things for kids. But that's his mindset. When I was his age, I was trying to do the right thing, and I don't know if I would do this while I'm in a different state. But he did. And I think that speaks volumes about his leadership, about the person he is, and about what Ryan Day can do and how Edmunds can help Ohio State build and create the number 1 recruiting class in the country. Because you want guys like this on your roster every single year. But it's a little bit different when it comes to the quarterback. When your quarterback is already coming in, heading into his junior year, and he is taking trips to the hospital, he is not only coming from California for 1 recruiting camp or for 2, he's there 3 days, but he was there for, I think, 5 days minimum to be there in Columbus to get a handle on the city and to better understand Midwest lifestyle. While I know it's summer, but for a kid from Cali, a Cali summer, baby, it's a little bit different than that Ohio summer. Ain't no beach around Ohio. Not like that. Not in Columbus. You may get bodies of water. You may get rivers and lakes and ponds. But you ain't got the ocean, as this man is from Huntington Beach, California. And for him to come out here right now and to prepare for his future, heading into his junior year, by not just doing stuff on the field, but by doing stuff off the field as well, that's going to help Ohio State get more guys that are of the elite talent category in this recruiting class. I love this kind of stuff. And when I first saw, now Brady Edmunds did put out a tweet, and when I first saw his tweet, I was thinking, okay, I knew you were in Columbus. You've been camping for a while, but for you to go out there and to say, hey, my family and I had a great day at the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, spent some time with the awesome staff, and donated a bunch of toys and books for the kids. So not just going with the kids, you're embracing the staff and spending time with them. I love it. And then he caps it off in this tweet. I'm looking forward to continuing my relationship with Nationwide Kids over the coming years. This isn't an NIL thing. This is a young man that is trying to embrace not just Ohio State culture, the culture inside Columbus, Ohio, and to help those that are in need, no matter how old or how young. Man, I love this kind of stuff because Ryan Day wants it. We see pictures all the time. We know that the team has a big a big focus on helping the community and helping those that are in need, no matter if it's handing out turkeys on Thanksgiving or if it's going to help out people at a nursing home or if it's going to a children's hospital, whatever the case may be. We have seen the pictures of Cam Babb, whose name just popped into my mind thinking about the Blanco jersey once again, or guys like a Jack Sawyer or Will Howard or Travion Henderson or Mecca Buka that were recently on the Ohio State's team that won the Natty. We have seen pictures of those guys going out there and not just being a Buckeye football player, but are also making their mark made, imprinting their handprint in various places around the city. And as Ohio State is the university, as they are trying to get better and better and better every single day on the football field, they also realize stuff like this matters. I think it matters more than a lot of people realize, because if you are someone that realizes this kind of stuff matters, what you're going to find is you might be compelled to do it more and more and more. Because at the end of the day, you feel really good when you help somebody in need. I mean, you feel like it's a better feeling sometimes than finishing a workout. Where some workouts you feel tired, but you feel satisfied and motivated to do it again after completing one. This is completely different. Because if you walk into a hospital room, no matter if it's a kid, a teenager, or an adult, a family member, or a complete stranger, it doesn't matter. You walk into a hospital and you are there to, let's just say you're there to hand out toys to kids like Brady Edmunds did. And you're there conversating, having a good old time, laughing, getting to know people. Next thing you know, that young kid that you have no idea who he is, who his parents are, or anything like that. Next thing you know, he says, "Hey, I'm looking forward to watching you be quarterback at Ohio State." And you're sitting there thinking, youngster, I don't know you, but he knows who you are with. And that is going to help him understand what you are, who you are, what you are all about, the culture that is in Ohio State. He believes you're all in with that culture. And there's a strong belief that he has in you, the player, when he doesn't even know you. And for building the future, if Ryan Day gets this from his quarterback right now, and his quarterback is coming in, future quarterback that is coming in and trying to make a mark, not just on the field, but also off the field, and the mark off the field might be stronger and longer lasting than the mark on the field, that's going to be a guy you want to lean on and say, okay, who do you want in this class? Who are some guys that you see at camps or at various tournaments you're at? Who are some of those guys that you see out there playing football? You're like, man, I want to throw the pill to him. Who are some of those guys? And Ryan Day says, okay, I got a list of 5. And Brady Edmunds comes back and says, Coach, I got this work for you. I'll get in my bag and pull out some tricks to allow these guys the opportunity and the avenue to easily say yes to commit to Ohio State. You want guys like this on your roster. I mean, you can look at Brady Edmunds, the football player, his stats from his freshman and sophomore year, how they got better. 3,200-yard passer his sophomore year, 36 passing touchdowns, a 62% completion percentage. And I believe over the next couple of years, his junior and senior seasons, those will get better. You know what I hope also gets better is his desire to help those in need and to make a mark in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, he's going into his junior year of high school, but he's already making a mark inside Columbus, Ohio. There are also some other guys that are making their mark in Columbus, Ohio that might be Buckeyes in the future. I'll tell you about a few of them next. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs. The intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's NBA Finals are already delivering. If you want in, Gametime makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Gametime is a total game changer. Guys, I was just on the app looking at tickets for Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and Zone Deals were offering 60% off in great sections. I love that I can see my exact view before I buy. No surprises. The app makes it ridiculously simple. 2 taps and I'm done. And with Gametime Guarantee, you know you're getting the best deal. If you find a better price in the same row and section, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. One quick note that I want to throw in here before we move on with the show is something that you guys have done this year, this month. This month, we are on pace to have way more downloads, audio downloads, than we had last year in June. And that's because of you. The everydayers keep coming back. We keep dialing up and providing more coverage for you to give you the news, provide you the show and the coverage that you want from Ohio State. So I want to say thank you to all the listeners on the audio side of things. If you're also a YouTuber, thank you as well. But also don't be afraid to shy away from going to the Apple or the Spotify or the iHeartRadio app or any of the podcast apps out there to tap in Locked on Buckeyes. Because trust me, y'all have been killing it so far this month, and we're going to break the number, have way more downloads than we had a year ago. And it wouldn't shock me if we get closer and closer to eclipsing a mark we had during the season last year, because y'all are killing it. You know who else is killing it? It's a lot of these players that have come to Ohio State for some of these recruiting camps. Some of them are guys that are currently in Ohio that play high school there. There are also some guys that have come from Illinois and Virginia and North Carolina to make a mark and imprint on some of these coaches. One of the guys that's making a mark that came from outside the state is Israel Abrams. He is a four-star quarterback, standing at 6'4", 180 pounds, a top 90 recruit, the number 9 quarterback in the class of 2027. I throw that in there because Brady Edmunds is currently the number 6 quarterback in the class. So let's just say Ohio State and Abrams, they get closer, they keep making the connection, and it gets stronger, and Abrams is compelled to commit to Ohio State. You're going to get 2 top 10 quarterbacks in one class to be Buckeyes. I'm not saying Abrams is going to commit, but if that happens, sign me up for that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Well, he threw at camp along with Brady Edmunds, and he has been impressing. And this young man from Illinois is one that I would encourage everyone to keep their eye on, especially because Ohio State currently doesn't have a quarterback committed in the class of 2026. And if that leads to Ohio State getting a quarterback later in the cycle and then getting 2 quarterbacks in the class of 2027, I wouldn't be mad about it. I wouldn't be mad about it at all. I think, honestly, Ohio State this year, they should get 2 quarterbacks. But if they only get one, the next offseason, get a quarterback in the portal. And then also in the 2027 cycle, get 2 quarterbacks automatically. I'm glad that Abrams came to Ohio State to camp for a little bit, but then also that he is really impressing the coaches. Another one is an in-state kid, Jamir Perez, 6'4", 360 pounds from Glenville High School, currently committed to Florida. But I wouldn't be shocked if he's on flip alert to flip to Ohio State. The Ted Ginn Sr. mark and him being at Glenville is real. It is a real thing. And if there's any guy right now that I think is a guy to watch for a flip, it is him. Because that pipeline to Glenville from Columbus, Ohio to that high school is open. And I don't think Ryan Day wants to shut it off anytime soon. So keep your eyes out for Jamir Perez. Now, Ohio State and Ryan Day's base, I think Ryan Day still wants to run a 4-2-5 defense. However, it wouldn't shock me if Matt Patricia starts to move a little bit more towards a 3-man front and having a hybrid backer on the outside. And if that happens, you're going to need to have more guys that are anchors in the middle and the defensive line in the trenches. Jamir Perez can be that kind of guy. Now, I don't think Perez is going to play in college, no matter if it's in Gainesville, Florida, or Columbus, Ohio, at 360 pounds. I don't believe that at all. But if, let's just say, he sheds 30 lbs and goes down to 330, could he be a one-tech? I think he can still be a one-tech in a 4-2-5. Not ideal, but it could still happen. But if he goes down to 330, Of course he could fit a 4-2-5 defense. Absolutely. He might be better suited for a 3-4, but I think the fact that he is currently in state. Now, there have been kids that have gone to Glenville, that have gone to other power conferences, even in the past 12 months. That's a real thing. But I think Perez, to me, is one of those guys we all have to watch. Another guy that I believe everyone needs to watch is Darius Gray. He's currently on his official visit to Ohio State. He's a 5-star offensive lineman in the class of 2026 at 6'3", 285 pounds from Richmond, Virginia. The Buckeyes are doing something very interesting this year, having guys come in for midweek official visits, and they are solo official visits. So you're not trying to juggle 3 or 4, 10 or 15 guys at one time. You're putting all of your energy and effort and resources into one player at the time. Now, it's not all of it because you are still having to do some recruiting camps and things of that nature. But when it comes to the official visit attention, all of that is zeroed in on one player. I think it's a very big thing, a very big deal. Another guy that is a name to monitor is Elijah Hall, a 2028 running back. Got an offer from Ohio State earlier this year at 6 foot even, 195 pounds. Young. A young guy going into a sophomore year of high school. We talked about it recently when Ohio State and Lachlan offered an 8th grader that played in an all-star game that when I watched him play, I'm like, oh, I can understand why Lachlan offered you this type of offer at such a young age. Wanted to get ahead of the game, you watch you play. Everybody believes, the name escapes me, but everybody believes that he is going to grow up and mature to be that kind of player. So it makes a whole lot of sense why Lachlan did it. Well, you're getting in early with Elijah Hall, too. Just a name to monitor. Keep him on your radar. A lot of these guys we're talking about here in this very segment, they are 2027 kids or 2028 kids. Athletes to keep in your mind, do some digging, watch the film to see what they're all about. Another guy is Nate Kamba, a 2027 defensive tackle, standing at 6'4", 300 pounds even. He was at camp on Tuesday from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this young man won most of his one-on-one reps. And anytime you're at a camp in the summer, with pads on or without pads on, you're winning your one-on-one reps. That's huge because they're going to try to pair you up with somebody at some point. They're going to try to pair you up with somebody that is close to your skill level. Now, that you're not going to get as close as you might want to, but they're going to try to do everything they can to make that thing happen. And winning those reps in front of Larry Johnson, that's huge. Another young man that is doing what is needed, that's a little bit younger to make a mark, a long-lasting mark on Ohio State's coaches. And so those are the guys that I think we all should be keeping our minds on, in our heads, in our minds. One thing I don't really like, I didn't think I was going to do this today, but here we are. Got to turn this thing a little bit negative. I am not a fan of offensive linemen or defensive linemen doing one-on-one drills without pads on, shoulder pads specifically. Give me a shoulder pads, give me helmets on both guys, and let's do this drill. I think doing them without the shoulder pads and the helmet are basically your way of saying, if you get hurt, we're okay with it. Now, I know in reality they're not. I know there are restrictions about when a guy can wear pads and when he can't, so I get all of that stuff. But if a guy can't wear pads, do you think somebody wants a hand shot to the chest or to make it slide up to the shoulder or hit you in the collar? No, absolutely not. But what happens when you're doing these drills? And we have all seen pass rush drills or I won't say pull rush drills or run. Yeah, really doing run blocking stuff because that's a whole different animal. There are a lot of pass rush drills you'll see at these camps where guys don't have shoulder pads on or helmets. So what are they doing? Acting like they have shoulder pads and helmets on. It shouldn't happen. It's a safety thing. Talking about trying to make the game safer, that's a good way to do it. Abrams, Hall, Kamba, Perez, Edmunds, all of these guys making marks on Ohio State coaches. And I can't wait to see if any of these guys that don't have offers or haven't committed to Ohio State yet end up committing to Ohio State in the future. One thing that has been a commitment by the worldwide leader is to send their premier College Game Day show to the biggest game of the week. And as expected, Game Day has already penciled in Ohio State in at least one of the trips to a Buckeye game next year. Thank you all for tapping into Locked On Buckeyes, making this show your first listen of the day. I love College Game Day. I'm not going to wait any longer to make that statement because I think it's worth saying right now. I grew up watching ESPN College Game Day. It was the show similar. It was before I fell in love with Inside the NBA. It was ESPN College Game Day. Now, to me, ESPN Inside the NBA, not ESPN's version, Inside the NBA post game is phenomenal. I don't think that College Game Day could do a post game show like Inside the NBA because, well, I don't think they have the kind of freedom the Inside the NBA has, or even the personalities that those guys have. However, College Game Day's commitment to go to the biggest games every single week is one of the best things ESPN did back in the mid to late 90s, which was make their mark and make sure when it comes to big time games, ESPN is there with their premier pregame show. And ESPN's already announced that Lee Corso's final show before retirement will be in Columbus, Ohio for Texas versus Ohio State week 1 on noon on Big Fox. Yeah, Big Noon will be there and College Game Day will be there. And let me tell you, if I was going to be in attendance, I would be at ESPN College Game Day. I wouldn't even touch Big Noon. And I have had the privilege of being there and being a part of the College Game Day show and Big Noon, being there live on TV, standing there, being in the audience. I've been a part of both. Trust me, there's a big difference, a massive difference. Not even in production or the number of people that are just a part of the teams for those pregame shows. There's a big difference between Big Noon and College Game Day. College Game Day is better. It's always been better. And I don't know if Big Noon can ever do what Game Day is doing because Game Day's got the thing on lock. And it's only fitting that Lee Corso's final headgear game and final game ever working at ESPN as an analyst for college football is at Ohio State because Lee Corso's first headgear pick back in 1996 was in Columbus, Ohio, and he picked Ohio State to beat Penn State. Now, the story behind this is actually very interesting where this was the first time he did it, and he hadn't really had to talk to equipment staff or teams or people on the ESPN staff to make sure that he had a headgear or a helmet to put on to make the pick. Well, Kirk Herbstreit's wife, who was a former cheerleader, helped get the headgear to the set for Lee Corso to put on his head when making the pick for the game. And there are so many memories about Lee Corso in my time watching College Game Day. I didn't watch Game Day when he first got on the desk there on the show. I wasn't even there when the show started traveling around to different schools because I was not a college football fan at the time. At my early years of being a sports fan, it was NBA, the Pacers, it was the Colts. Did a little IU, a little Purdue basketball, a little IU football, a little Purdue football, but it was not Game Day. It wasn't that. I did NBC pregame stuff for the NBA on NBC. Like, baby, that was me. I didn't do Game Day. No. But when I did, Lee Corso's personality was perfect for a Saturday morning. Turn that bad boy on at 9 a.m. and we're coming to your city. I ain't going to sing for you, but that's the song. And those are the words that we heard every Saturday morning. And Lee Corso, week after week after week, he brought the energy. Lee Corso, week after week after week, did some heroics, did something funny. He even said, "Oh, F it," threw the blowhorn and put the headgear on, and just so many fun things that Lee Corso did. And the fact that his final game will be at Ohio State, I don't get emotional about sports like that. I don't really start crying. I've cried once in sports. It wasn't a game that I played. It was when Kobe Bryant died. I don't think I'll cry when Lee Corso retires. But if it happens, it happens, man. I mean, he's a part of my childhood. I am not going to shy away from it. I do get nostalgic from every now and then. And for Lee Corso to be leaving like this and leaving in this way, good for him. Go out on your way. I know he had a stroke, I believe, at one point, but maybe 10 years ago now. I don't know if it was exactly 10 years ago, but it was recently within the past 10 years. And I didn't think he'd be able to come back. And when he did come back, I wasn't sure if he was going to keep coming around because it was clear that his delivery wasn't the same and he wasn't able to talk the same. And I believe he's even now losing. Like, there are things that he is losing now that it would be tough to go on TV like that. I mean, they have to write out a script. And even at the end, when he picks games or when he's speaking on the show, stuff is written out for him. Where before he was able to freelance and be moving so freely through the words and back and forth. And I remember when they went to James Madison and he dressed up like a man from the 1700s. And I'm thinking, man, this guy's a comedian who is a football fan, former college football coach. But like some guys in sports, I didn't know Corso used to be a coach. I thought that he had always been a college football analyst. I don't even think at the time I knew Herbstreit used to play football at Ohio State, but I grew up with Herbstreit, the college football analyst. I didn't grow up with Herbstreit, the football player. Now, David Pollock is one of those guys that it's double duty. I grew up watching David Pollock when he was at ESPN. I grew up with David Pollock playing football at Georgia, being an All-American. I believe he was also a first-round pick, also turning into a college football analyst, doing his own thing independently now, doing a great job with it. Pat McAfee, those Pat White teams, Pat White, Steve Sladen, Pat McAfee was on those teams. And so, yeah, he's also on the Colts. So, like, I know more of my life, Pat McAfee has been a player, not an analyst. He's just now becoming a college football analyst, a pretty good one, too. So, like, with Corso, I knew him as an analyst and a really good one and a funny one. I didn't realize he used to be a coach. It's going to be weird not having him on the set. And I know that they have been working and trying to find a replacement. And I know that Pat McAfee, will he be there? Will he not be there? Contractually, will it work? I get all that stuff. I think McAfee is a replacement for Corso. I think there are times that McAfee should dial down some of his excitement, the way that he does things, but that's who he is. And that's what works for him. He made a lot of money doing it his way. For Corso, it's going to be tough not seeing him there on a Saturday. And knowing that his final game on the desk will be in Columbus, Ohio, when Texas comes to town. Huh, how fitting. Corso has picked the Buckeyes 45 times. It'll be the 26th time Ohio State has hosted College GameDay. Ohio State is 45-21 all time when appearing on GameDay. They are 19-6 when hosting GameDay. They also won the first 9 times they appeared on GameDay. When I say appear, it's either a game they play in that's at a neutral site or they appear as the away team when they're going somewhere else to play the football. And so I'm here for it, man. Lee Corso, great career. You helped my college football fandom be as strong as it is right now. Waking up on a Saturday morning, turning on College GameDay, putting that bad boy on and knowing you were going to lead us into a good game at 12 noon. I didn't care if it was Clemson, Ohio State. There was going to be a good game at noon. A quality football game. It's college football, and we expect that at 12 noon. No matter if it's Fox doing their thing or the way ESPN does it. And I think ESPN's model, it works. Fox's model, not the friendliest to some fans, but it works for them too. It also works. Lee Corso. He works a lot. He works hard. He's an entertainer. He did a great job helping a lot of us with our fandom when we were younger. And it's going to be tough to not see Lee Corso, the coach, at the desk after Ohio State's Week 1 game against Texas. Thank y'all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the portal because my guy Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes right here on a Wednesday. We'll see you next time.